What's going on, everybody? Another fantasy fight video. This one is a video response to a request made by somebody in the comments from B Court. He asked me who would win, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Sugar Ray Leonard, the two Sugar Rays, and I appreciate the comment. I'm going to answer right now. Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest fighters in history. He started his career, I think it was like 120-1 or 121-2, something like that. 120, one loss, two draws. He won titles at welterweight and middleweight back when there was only one title in each weight class. He fought at light heavyweight, was winning the fight. It was Joey Maxim, but he gassed out. It was in the heat and couldn't make it out of the stool in round 13, and he wasn't able to win the light heavyweight title. And then he went back down to middleweight. They didn't have all these weight classes back then, so you have to keep in mind there was no junior middleweight, there was no super middleweight. They only had the 8 original weight classes. They only had flyweight, featherweight, bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. So they didn't have all these weight classes. So a lot of people, they'll say, oh, Sugar Robinson, he only won in 2 weight classes. But if he was in the times now, he probably would have won 4 or 5 of them. So I don't really like that comparison. Then we go to Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard, 5 division champion, really 4 because the light heavyweight one was Bull. He only won at 168 and they gave him both titles. But welterweight, junior, middleweight, super middleweight, all legit. And he got his name, Sugar Ray. He was named after Ray Charles, but he got the sugar part from the great Sugar Ray Robinson, and he lived up to all that. So here we go. Who would win in a head-to-head fight that's always been discussed? I think from a just straight head-to-head standpoint, generally the newer fighters are better than the older fighters. I think that they got to learn from a lot of what the older fighters did right and wrong and correct their mistakes and improve on what they already had laid down as the foundation. That's why I don't only measure head-to-head when it comes to defining greatness in all sports. I think a lot of people are delusional and lie about how a lot of the older athletes in all sports would do to the newer athletes if there was no prior training and adjustment to the new era. And I'm assuming when they make these discussions of who would win, this guy or that guy, they're taking that fighter as they were and they're inserting that person into the new era. So like Sugar Ray Robinson, the question is not, is Sugar Ray Robinson growing up in the 70s, how would he do versus Leonard? I don't think that's the question. The question is, how would Sugar Ray Robinson, that version that we saw or heard about, beat, how would he do against Sugar Ray Leonard? I think a lot of people lie. Let's just get right into it. First off, from a speed standpoint, I think Sugar Ray Leonard is clearly faster. I think Leonard has the clear superior hand speed and inside ability. I think Leonard has a very big advantage in footwork, and to me, this is the biggest advantage. When you watch old Sugar Ray Robinson fight from what's out there, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you don't know. You haven't seen enough Sugar Ray Robinson. You didn't either, because there isn't that much footage of him, especially at welterweight. Most of the footage is at middleweight. The whole welterweight footage, I looked for a lot of it over the years. There isn't a lot of it. There's only maybe 30 minutes worth of footage or so, and it's not all in one fight. It's one round here, then another round here. It's not concurrent footage. It's just one piece here, one piece there. So it's not easy to make a evaluation of someone. But his footwork, Sugar Robinson, and I don't want to sound like I'm Eddie Futch or Angelo Dundee or Emmanuel Stewart. I'm not saying I am, but he only moves in and out, in and out, in and out. He doesn't have the lateral movement that Leonard had. And I think that that's a very big difference. I think from a power standpoint, Robinson probably hit harder. I think he was probably physically stronger. But you got to keep in mind, back in those days when Robinson was fighting, they didn't have the gloves with padding. So a lot of these guys had more knockout power. But even so, I think Robinson had more knockout power. I think that Leonard was an improvement on Robinson. Now, I'm not talking resume-wise, although Leonard has an amazing resume as well. But just from a head-to-head standpoint, I would favor Leonard to beat him on points. I think Leonard would win over 12 rounds or even over 15. I think Leonard was the superior talent, and I think that boxing has improved a lot since then. And for people to say it hasn't, they're just being delusional. And to put this into the context of another sport, because I saw someone say, how would Sugar Ray Robinson do versus Terrence Crawford, a modern day fighter? How would Bob Cousy do against Stephen Curry? Ask yourself that. And I think anybody would say, you know what? I think Curry would probably beat him in a one-on-one. So that's how I look at it. When I look at Robinson, he's basically doing the same thing over and over again. It's jab, right hand, 1-2, 1-2, step in, step out. He doesn't counterpunch. He does not feint. He doesn't use, his lateral movement. He doesn't really even change speeds if you're watching the fight from what I've seen. So I think Robinson, from an all-time great standpoint, this doesn't take away from that because you can only be great in your time. I'm a firm believer of that fighters are judged by what they did in their time. You can't take someone now and put them back 50 years or take someone now and put them back 50 years. And to flip it the other way, a lot of the guys in the new era would not have been as good in the older era because they fought so much more frequently. So you take a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard, he only has like 40 fights. You take a guy like Floyd Mayweather, he only has 50 fights. He had hand problems. So if he fights in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, his career might be done much quicker because he has to fight every few months because they weren't making that kind of money. They weren't making the pay-per-view money. They were only making the live gate money. So does he go undefeated if he has 125 fights? Probably not. Does he have the long career that he had? Probably not. So there's a lot of intricacies in this, and it goes both ways. But if you're asking me who I think would win in a head-to-head fight, I think Sugar Ray Leonard would win by UD. Please let me know what you guys think. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and check out my other fantasy fight videos. Peace.